recording. Okay. All right. Thanks you guys for getting on live. Like I just said, super excited about tonight's call because this is one of the things that I've been doing brain dumps for years, and it is by far one of the things that have absolutely made a huge impact on my life and how I get things done and how I prioritize and how I set goals and all that good stuff. So I'm going to walk you through how to do a brain dump, what exactly that means. We've got 3 steps through this. I'm going to show you. I actually did my brain dump a couple of days ago, and I'll show you and kind of go over what I've got on mine. And then I'm going to show you, because here's the thing. I've said many times to people, and they're like, I've got so much on my plate. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do first. And I always say, you got to do a brain dump. Then they do a brain dump, and then it's like, well, I'm still stressed out because now I don't have a game plan. Tonight, we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the dump, then we're going to talk about how to organize that in sections, and then we're going to talk about how to prioritize it. Okay, so does everybody have a piece of paper? Well, several pieces of paper, I hope, or a notebook, a pen, a pencil, something to write with. Julie, clearly you're not going to be able to do that, but you can always come back to it. You'll get the gist, you'll understand it, and then you can do it on your own. But I'm hoping that we can get through this within 45 minutes. So we're going to do the first is going to be a 15-minute chunk, because the brain dump is the one thing that's going to probably take the most amount of time, or at least usually you can figure out things that you can do for that amount of time. So no particular order at all. What you're going to do is every goal that you want to set, every to-do list thing that you have, it could be from meal planning to I need to get my oil changed, to I need to do grocery shopping for this week, to I need to get my car washed, like everything. And it doesn't have to be like personal things first and then business. Nope. Everything just comes to your mind, write it down, no matter what. It doesn't have to be this is my list. I literally have, let's see. Like I have to redo snippets over here, and I have over here, where is my low chair? Because I literally have to find a chair that's in my garage somewhere, but I keep forgetting to do it. So it goes on my list. So I've got over here, it's anything and everything, one piece of paper. So does that make sense that it's everything that you've got? You get it down on a piece of paper. It can be anything that you need to get done, any goal that you want to hit, then that's what you write down on the paper. It's called a brain dump, because every single thing that's in your brain, all of the to-dos, all of the busyness within your life, that is it's just clutter up there, and it's how you're forgetful with things, and it's how you stress out about, oh my gosh, I can't forget this, I can't forget that. When you do this and you write it down, you're taking it out of your brain and you're putting it on a piece of paper so that you'll have it here. You're never going to forget about it. You're not going to not do it because you know that it's here. And we're going to talk about how to make sure you get those things done towards the end. So for now, let's go. I'm going to set my alarm for 15 minutes. Brain dump. No particular order. Whatever is in your head, any to-do that you have, a goal that you want to set, I want to do this by this date, write it down on your piece of paper. Does everyone get that? Are we good? Yeah? Okay. 15 minutes and go. Hey, Kathleen. Let me just catch Kathleen up real quick. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm so excited that you jumped on. It's been a while since we've seen you. Yay! I'm glad it worked out for you. Okay, so what we're doing now is a brain dump. Anything that's on your mind that needs to get done, you write it on a piece of paper. This is what my brain dump looks like. It's basically a blank piece of paper, and I've got on here things like fix the bag area in my bedroom, to find my low chair in my garage, clean out my closet, figure out how to do a flip video. Like these are, so it's literally, it's everything. Doesn't have to be business or personal. It's everything. Get it out of your brain, get it onto a piece of paper. And we have 14 minutes left. So write it all down.
We got just under 8 minutes left.
All right, 2 minutes. All right, wrap it up, about 30 seconds, and then we'll move on. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing about a dump list. What I would suggest is, before we're going to go into the next step, but when you do this again, I suggest you do your dump list the morning of one day, and then you kind of let it sit, because you're going to think of other things as time goes on, right? And you don't want to have to recreate an entire brain dump every 2 or 3 days when you think of something new. So I personally like to just kind of sit with it for a day or two, add to it. You can kind of see here that I started in blue ink, and then I added other things with whatever pen I had. So I've got some red ink, I've got some black ink on here. So they're just, as you're going through things, then just go ahead and add to it. And then the next section that we're going to do is going to be prioritizing, no, it's going to be sectioning them off. So here I have 3 different sections. Now, you may only have one list. Like if you don't have anything for business and it's all personal, then you probably are only going to have one list. But I think everybody pretty much has like a business side and a personal side, and even like a miscellaneous. You're not sure where this certain thing falls. Well, I personally have 3 or 4 lists here. I have my personal on this side, billing, I have my coaching stuff, and then I have a miscellaneous. So what you do now is you go through your dump list, everything that's on here, put it into a category on a separate sheet of paper. So on a separate sheet of paper, you're basically rewriting this. Now, does that seem redundant? Yeah, it should, because the more times you write down what it is that you have to do, the more instilled into your brain it's going to be. So when you're doing this, you might also think of something else to add to your dump list. Like if you're doing a bunch of things in your personal side, and you're like, oh yeah, and this, add it to the list, right? So if you have, so for now, that's what I want you to do. Now your list might be like personal, work, and your kids' extracurriculars. Or maybe you have a hobby and you have stuff to do there. Or maybe you volunteer, like you've got a volunteer section. So you should generally almost always have a personal and a miscellaneous, and then whatever extra stuff you have, then create, if it's got something that's like a whole section for one thing, like for me it's coaching, that's like the other thing that I do. So add that in there as well. So section off the things. Does that make sense? Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay. All right, so we'll do this for 10 minutes. So you're rewriting everything that was in your dump list, and you're gonna rewrite it all into sections. All right, 10 minutes and go. just under 2 minutes. All right, 15 seconds, so wrap it up. All right. So now at this point, you should have reorganized your lists, got your things into different sections, because now your next thing to do is to organize each of these lists. So you've got several of them here. So you go one by one. And the way that I do it is I just take a highlighter and I highlight the priorities, the things that need to get done now. Like, this is urgent. This is what I need to do first. These are your priorities. And remember, you're prioritizing. So don't go highlighting the whole entire column because it's all important. Just pick, 2, 3, maybe even 4 things and highlight what you'd like to get done first. And I'd say, within the next week or so, make sure you're highlighting what goes first. All right, so we'll do that for 5 minutes. That shouldn't take very long at all. So go through each of your columns. Like, the way that I have it is I've highlighted 2 to 4 things on each column, except the miscellaneous, because that's going to happen whenever I get to it. All right, 5 minutes. All right, 30 seconds. Okay. All right, did you guys get your stuff highlighted? Guys know what your priorities are? So obviously, when we get off this call, you can spend more time doing this, going back through and looking at your brain dump, maybe adding to it. And you can, so Julie had put a comment in there that she would pre-type out spreadsheets, and you absolutely can do that. Personally, I think writing it on paper first is the best way to do a brain dump, because you're not having to think about the typing part. You're just getting it out of your head. But what you also can do is, if you have set columns and you know what they are, like these for several years, this is what my columns have been. So when you do a brain dump, you really can just put your things already in here, so you can skip that step. I still like to do the one page, and then I still like to go in and rewrite it, because a lot of the times when I rewrite it into the columns, I remember other things as I'm doing that. So for me, I like to do it that way, but if you want to skip that step, you absolutely can do that. So I mean, it's pretty simple, right? It's pretty straightforward, I think, when you get everything out of your brain and you get it onto a piece of paper. It just eliminates the things that you have to remember. It's like less of a cluttered mind. And that should be something that makes you immediately feel a lot better. And the more you do this, the quicker it's going to be. Your brain's going to start working with, okay, so I'm going in this direction, so I need to do this. Because one of the things that I want to mention is that if you've got on your brain dump goals, like for example, if you have a goal to lose 30 pounds in 3 months, then you have to break that up. You have to kind of reverse engineer that. And it's, you want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. So you break it down monthly. That's 10 pounds per month. That's about 2 pounds per week. So you're breaking things down. So if you have any other goals that are in there, like for me, if I wanted to hit a next rank for my Beachbody business, then I need to break that down. So how many, how many challengers do I need? How many coaches do I need? How many, people do I need to add into our network? How many people do I need to talk to? Break those bigger goals down, because what you highlighted here, this is your priority. This is now what you're going to put onto your weekly and daily to-dos. So for example, here is my planner, right? Here is my prioritized sheet. The first highlighted thing is call mom, then I have call dad, then I have lunch with Andrea. To call Andrea to see if she wants to have lunch. So I have that on here. It goes into my to-do list. So I have on my billing stuff, clear out my pending stacks, catch up on the dailies, those 2 things in that second column, I have it here. I've got on Wednesday, that's when I'm gonna situate those pending stacks. Tomorrow, I'm gonna catch up on some of my daily work. So throughout the week, I'm gonna go ahead and work on those things that I know need to get done right away. So you can break these up into your time slots that you have available. So hopefully you have some kind of digital calendar that will show everything all in like one, at least in a weekly glance. And I know a lot of people like the electronic thing, and that's totally fine if your electronic thing at least shows you as a whole what you have going on. Because if you're only looking at one day, how do you know how busy you're going to be each day? I know this week, Friday, I'm good. I got lots of time on Friday because most things you can see fall for me on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then as it goes on, I'm just gonna keep adding to this. And of course, if things don't get done on that Monday or Tuesday, it gets pushed to the next day. So by the end of the week, things have kind of jumped around, but I have this to come back to. I have this to remind me about what priorities I have. I have this that's going to ground me when I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do first. You come back to this and you're like, oh yeah, that is a priority over this. Because if you don't write things down, if you don't look at the things that you have to get done, you're not going to do them. I mean, you're just not. And I think a lot of us here, we all have kind of that same brain where we want to be organized and we want to be that kind of person, right? Who does the things that they say that they're going to do and who makes these goals and actually reaches them and gets to where they want to be. But to be that kind of person, you have to start organizing yourself, decluttering your mind, getting all that clutter out of it, get it onto a piece of paper, and you can do a dump on a weekly basis. You can do it. I basically do it every morning when I'm looking at this and I go and I prioritize the things that I have to get done, but I don't do it. I do this about once a month, maybe twice a month if I'm like, shit's about to hit the fan and I don't know what the hell I'm doing next and I have that anxiety that just starts to settle. I always, 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 always do a brain dump. I promise you, if anxiety about where you need to be, what you need to do, when all of that starts to get to you, when you do a brain dump, it's going to help alleviate that. The other thing that it's going to do, and this was something that I never really anticipated or thought would happen, but you start prioritizing your time much better and you start to say no to the things that people ask you to do that aren't serving you, that aren't going to move you forward. And I know a lot of the times, we are people pleasers and we want to make everybody happy and we want to do everything that everybody else tells us to do or asks us to do, I should say. But when you've got a list that looks like this and you've got big goals that you want to hit, then you need to remember that this is what you got going on. These are your priorities, and you can say and show somebody, this is what I got on my plate. I'm sorry, I don't think that I can help you do that on this day. It'll make you feel better because it's not like you're just being mean or being lazy. You're like, I legit don't have time. My son today just said that he wants to sit down and have like a lunch somewhere so that we can talk about goals. Clearly, we talk about goals in this house all the time. And he wants me to help him set, like, this is where I want to be. How do we reverse engineer that so that I know where I'm going? And I said, we need to block it out on my calendar, and you need to tell me when we're going to do that, because I got shit to do and I need to know when we're going to do that. So it's important, you guys, to make time for the things that are important to you and things that are going to move you forward and get done the things that you're going to get done. Because I think, you know, in general, we're all looking to become that girl, right? That person who does what she says she's going to do, reaches those goals she sets for herself. But none of this is going to work if you do what we just did and never look at it again. You have to take action. You have to go back to this when we get off this call here in a couple of minutes. Go back to it. Look at your brain dump. Look at your priority sheet and say, you know, is this really a priority, or should I get this done first? Your priority also should not be the things that you enjoy doing. If you know in your heart that you have to get something that you don't want to get done, get that done first. There's a book by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog, and he basically tells you to, the one thing that you do not want to do it first. Eat the frog first thing in the morning. Get it done. Get done the crappy stuff that you don't want to do it first. So remember that when you're doing your priority sheets. Get done those things that you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'd rather do this. Like for me, instead of writing out a big long post, I would rather create a pretty graphic. So I could spend 20 minutes creating a pretty graphic, and then, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, but now I have to write about it. And writing is not really my thing at all. I'd rather do the graphic. Eat the frog, write the post first. Yeah? Okay, so real quick recap. Number one, do your brain dump. Let it digest for a day or two. Add to it as you need to. Number two, create columns for each of the different sections of your life and rewrite your brain dump into those columns. Take a highlighter, prioritize your columns so that you know what needs to get done first. And then number four is get those prioritized items into your weekly and daily planner. And if you need to, while you're getting it into your weekly or daily planner, you know, one thing that you might have in there, you may need to go back and, like I said, reverse engineer it. What do you need to do to get this thing done? Because sometimes, you know, it really is, you have to think of it, I can't do this yet because I have to do this first. So that's also something that I probably should have said too when you're doing your brain dump is if you've got a big goal, break it down. Like break it down into smaller chunks. And maybe when you're going back and you're looking at your brain dump and your goal is to create a website, just throwing this out there, create a website. Okay, so you can't create a website on Wednesday because that's not gonna happen. It's, you have to review, you know, who's gonna host your website, get some more information, gotta make your graphics, gotta have a layout of what you want your website to look like. You have to research, you know, have research time for things that you're not sure how to do, what you wanna do. Because you guys, we have YouTube. I don't know how anybody got anything accomplished like 20 years ago because everything is on YouTube and you can learn how to do anything because there is a video, somebody in our lives, within our lives has done this before and they made a video because people are freaking awesome. Can't tell you how many people I've sent messages to, and I'm like, thank you so much for doing this because you just saved me 2 hours of trying to figure this out. So do your research for the goals, the bigger goals that you have, because the information is out there. So be resourceful. When you're looking at those big goals, break them down. What do you need to do first? And just think about it. Do you think I can't do this without doing this first? And then that becomes your priority. That becomes those little things. That's what you plug into your daily planner so that you know that you're going to get those things done. And here's the thing about planning like this is you're not going to lose anything. You're not going to forget anything, because if you have, even if it's on a digital thing and you've got columns like this, all you have to do is add to it. And then it's going to be out of your brain. You don't have to remember it, but you know that when you sit down for a session with your planner or reviewing your goals and your to-dos, you know you're going to come across it because it's right here. You've already written it down. So you don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry tomorrow to remember to create or to ask about the leaders call because I know it's on here and I'm going to get to that. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Does anybody have any questions? Was this helpful at all? It helps me. Hopefully it'll help you guys too. And then, you know, post in the page. If you found this helpful, but you're like, I did this a little bit different, because obviously I am all about you tweak it to make it your own. You do whatever it is that you need to do. I thought about doing like downloads for you guys and like have the pretty little thing that said Braindump and then columns, and I was like, you know, that's not how everybody's brain works. Not everybody wants it to look like this way that I would want it to look. So literally I just do a piece of paper, go from there, and you tweak it and you make it your own. Because I'm telling you, you guys start doing this, you start brainstorming things, brain dumping, prioritizing, getting stuff on your to-do lists, and then taking action to do them, and then you're going to be like a super powerhouse, and you're going to be getting stuff done. All right. Questions? Anyone? No? Does anyone want to show me their brain dump? I want to see what you guys came up with. I want to see yours. Hold them up. Woo, woo. Yay. Made me so happy. Okay, cool. Awesome, guys. All right, then if we are good, you guys, so it is 7:56, 7:57. All right, well, does anyone want to tell me how their week went? You guys can pop off if you need to. But if anyone wants to talk about how their week went, mine was actually a really awesome week. I actually had a really, really, really good week, and I think that this week is going to be even better. I've already got my meal plan situated. We technically already have everything in our house, so I'm not even needing to do a lot of meal prep this week. My food's easy. Like, I made it easy. It's like chicken, potatoes, broccoli. Like, super simple this week. Because remember, this weekend we got week 4 after pictures. All right, anyone? Should I go around? No, I don't want to do that to you guys, because I know that like gives people heart palpitations, and I don't want to do that. You can unmute yourself. All right, fine. All right, I'll let you guys go. Take a look at your sheets, and if you want to post them, that would be great too. If you have any suggestions, let us know that too, and I'll get this recording up as well. All right, ladies, have a great, great day. We'll see you in the group. Bye.